I'm Roland Mann, and I host Silverline's Silver Sunday. Join me every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern as we make mine Silverline.
Whoops. we were a little late popping in there for the live part, but we are live.
Yes, sorry for the truncated opening. Right when I pressed the go live button, my browser crashed. So, I pressed the button and everything went poof. So I wasn't like So we do apologize if we missed the opening there, but we hopefully you caught the tail end there with that nice little kickoff music.
Yep.
Welcome to
he
Wednesday.
Me, are we live? Are we live? Oh shoot! And I pushed the live button, and we are now.
Are we live or Memorex? Okay,
yeah. How many people are going to remember that?
Yeah. Welcome to another Wednesday night comics hullabaloo.
Woohoo!
It's a comics hullabaloo, folks. We're just going to talk comics and the latest news and updates, what's going on in the comics world, and we will probably toss in our 2 cents about our own books. Silverline and how they're going and what's going on. We do have a Kickstarter in here right now, I believe. Is that Teen Beetle? Teen Beetle number 3?
It is.
So yeah. So
and Previews now has listed
Twilight
issue 2 of Twilight Grimm. So head over to your local comic shop or your favorite online comic book shop and order it, please.
Yes. So ask your local comic shops for Silverline books. We got Twilight Grimm. We got Sniper and Rook. We've got K-List, the ultimate dad comic. I got it in there this week, guys. Trumps. We got Divinity by our wonderful Empress of Ink, Barb Kalberg. And then we got...
And it is, and Roland is beginning to ship it out. So... Yay.
All right. So that's issue number 4 or issue number 3 on Divinity?
Yep, that's issue number 4.
We got Craig.
I'm looking for the link here.
Cape Town. We've got Wolf Hunter. We've got
Teen Beetle.
So so go check out the kick. So
I'm trying to find the link for the Kickstarter, but I'm not having any
Beyond the Stars. So that's Fund My Comic. I have that pulled up here somewhere. Hang on 1 second. Let's see if I can pull that up. I did pull that up earlier this evening. Fund My Comic. Where did that go? So yeah. So we've had some interesting stuff going on in the comics world lately, but let's introduce ourselves. I'm Martin Mertonen. I'm the colorist on Wolf Hunter. And I've been kicking the tires around here on Wednesday Wham for quite some time. And over to, that's the wrong way. That way is our Empress of Inks. Introduce yourself there, Barb.
My name is Barb Kalberg. Most of you already know who I am. Long time inker of 35 plus years. Last 5 years I've been writing and coloring. The creator of Divinity and veteran in the industry. I'm also the CFO of Silverline. And I've been doing the books lately.
All right.
That's an exciting comics job.
Thank you.
And somewhere around here, we have the venerable penciler inker, Rob Davis.
I'm the artist on Twilight Grimm, the book we mentioned earlier that is in previews this month. Please take a gander at it. Anyone who's been watching the Silverline Wednesday Wham for a while knows my bona fides, or however you pronounce it. I am a longtime artist, probably is 35 years, kind of like Barb. We started about the same time. I worked for Marvel, DC, Malibu, all kinds of folks doing anything from Star Trek to Merlin to Robin Hood I've been all over the map. I think the only thing I haven't done now is either a romance comic or a Western comic. So I wouldn't mind doing one of those.
I haven't done a Western, but I've done romance and PORN.
What if you do a
Well-
what if you kill two birds with one stone and do a romance western?
Well, there are such things. Yes,
No, I take that back.
Western Romance was a pulp magazine. If I
I
remember.
did a
correctly.
6-page. I did a 6-pager
Huh.
Western. Oh, I've covered it all.
Did you? Okay, you got me. You can lord it over me. You've
Yeah.
done one I haven't done.
So you
Now-
have done the P word then too?
Oh well, yeah. Parts of some late some of the late stuff I did on Scimitar was rather. There was full
I did
frontal.
triple X. In
Full
fact,
frontal.
I did Xenophile.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I didn't go quite that far, but it was. I would say it was NC-17 definitely.
Let's just say there was a banana
Not
involved.
quite that. Not. Oh, I like bananas.
All right. Well,
This degenerated really fast. Didn't
I
it?
know.
Oh
We're
my
gonna
God.
get kicked off right away.
yeah.
Boy, okay, can we go
All
any
right.
lower than this? Okay.
So do
Everything's
you
up
have
from
any?
here.
Do you have
Yay.
any? Do you have any art on your desk there, Rob?
I
You wanna
do.
show off?
I've been. This one has been a long time coming. This is a page of Boston Bombers, and that's Rio de Janeiro at the top.
Oh,
There's an
that's
airplane
nice.
flying.
Holy cow, that's a lot of
Oh,
detail.
well, you can see why it took a while to get that one done.
Yeah.
And then the next panel is another detail-filled one, not quite as much as the first one. But
Good Lord.
so it's the cathedral there in Buenos Aires, and then so on.
Buenos Aires or Rio de Janeiro?
Buenos Aires. Whatever I said.
Buenos
first.
Aires. You said
This
Rio.
was- Did I? I'm absolutely wrong. It's Buenos Aires.
Right.
So, yeah.
So the cool thing is you can totally recognize it. That's
Well, yeah. I mean, I found the photo and used that as reference. I mean, here's the.
there we go.
Composited that in Photoshop and used that as
Nice.
put it on the light table and transferred it. But yeah, that's what I've been working on. That actually took a couple of weeks to get done because a
Wow.
bunch of stuff. I'd start and then
Let's get
I'd have to jump on some other project, or I also folks know that I have a side gig driving for a local college, and their season started up 3 or 4 weeks ago, and off and on I've been driving for them, mostly the volleyball and golf groups. And there's
Very cool.
she's inking. Yeah, I get. That's the thing. Next thing I'll jump on is that our project, our secret project.
Wow.
I've got to.
You're really capturing that. You're really capturing that fear there. That's
Yes.
That's really
Yeah.
good.
This is Rob's pencils, my inks.
Uh-huh.
So
Aha.
there you go.
Yep,
That's what I was working
he
on
looks
today.
very afraid, doesn't he? Yes,
Mhm.
Yes,
and
he
he should
does.
be.
And I'm working on that around a Japanese project, which I signed a DNR for, so I can't discuss it. Sorry.
Oh,
Mhm.
what you
But,
didn't you did tell us it was Japanese last time, so we know a teeny bit more about what it is.
So when you say Japanese, does that mean manga or something else?
I signed a DNR, honey.
She's probably already given away more than she should have.
No,
by
I can
saying
tell
it's
you that.
Japanese.
Much. I can tell you that.
Okay, all right.
That's Japanese, but you can't tell us if it's a manga.
I'm not a DNR. Oh my God, that's do not resuscitate.
Yeah.
Yes.
Non-disclosure.
Yeah,
NDA.
NDR. Sorry,
NDR.
NDR.
Yeah.
NDR or NDA?
NDA.
Either one.
NDA.
Non-disclosure agreement. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
I won't
All right.
won't see anything until next year, probably
Hmm.
midsummer.
Well, that's good. It's good that you're keeping busy. I mean,
Yeah.
So have you already started working on it, or are you going to start working on it next year?
Oh no, I finished it. Just finished it because the deadline was at the end of September.
Oh, okay.
That's why she couldn't work on our secret project.
Are
for a
you
while.
allowed
Yeah,
to
that's
change
why
working on
that's why I'm back to
Yeah.
inking the secret project, and I've got to
Right.
get going on Divinity 5, which is all penciled, and so is Divinity number 6, by the way.
Are you
Yeah.
allowed to tell us the publisher or no? Or is that still part of the NDA?
That's still part of the NDA.
Ah, okay. Wow.
Yep.
All right. Sounds intriguing.
Mhm.
All right. Well, so this week some
So-
interesting stuff happened in the comics world.
Right.
We were just moseying along, and all of a sudden a story popped up. And the story that popped up is Marvel and DC Comics lost their trademark for the term superhero.
And
So
honestly, I never knew it was trademarked in the first place.
I remember reading about them trademarking it years ago. I mean, this is probably in the early 2000s, maybe as early as the 1990s. That
I've
they
been doing this for
trademarked it. But it's the
35
thing
years,
is,
and I never knew that what superhero
And
was
the
trademarked.
problem is, in order for you to have a trademark, you have to protect it. And they'd have to squash. They have squashed some stuff, but they'd have to chase down so many. They'd have to catch every little reference to the word. And there are books out there since before this lawsuit that had superhero in them, either in the title of a story or it's in the story itself where they refer to superheroes. So yeah, it's like Kleenex. It's lost its trademark by its everyday use.
Right. I mean, even the boys, on Amazon and the comic book, they called their hero non-heroes. They called them supers. I mean, what
Yeah.
that just implies right off the bat.
Again, it was really an indefensible trademark, and I think when it first got ruled that way, I read an article about this week, and they kind of postulated that the reason it got trademarked was nobody gave a damn about comic books at the time. It was not important, so the judge says, "Oh yeah, you can have it." So, and of course, nobody with any deep pockets has been able to try and overthrow it. But apparently, did you? I forget who it was. It's a small company who actually sued to get it overthrown, and finally were successful.
I mean, that's like trying to trademark the name soda.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, you want a soda? Oh, you can't use that word. That so and so company made that.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's so
and like I said about Kleenex, everybody knows what a Kleenex is. That's a Kleenex, but it's also a brand name. It's a trademark brand name. But the thing is,
it's a tissue.
it can't be defended because everybody uses it talking about generic tissue, facial tissue. So
Agreed.
Mhm.
Yeah. So now what is all the hi pops? We're talking. You know what we're talking about? Superheroes. So now everybody's in a mad rush to go out and use the word superhero. No, I'm not.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So that brings up that really interesting question now. Like, well, wow, superhero is now available to use, so let's slap it on everything, right? But like, in an interesting way, though, if you think about it, that actually forces you to become more creative and like, can you still indicate a superhero without saying superhero, right? So like,
well,
like
that's what some people were doing over the last 30, 40
so like
years.
we've got cat and mouse. Would they be considered superheroes?
Yes. Well, I would think
Or
so.
would they be just considered heroes? Like, where does the super come in? Is Batman a superhero, or is he just a hero? Right?
Yeah, exactly. It's Twilight Grim one. I mean, he has no powers.
Or Cape Town.
So, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
another one. Yeah,
Cape Town is a book about
supers.
superheroes. Supers.
Yeah.
Yep. So interestingly enough, looking at some of the commentary here from the lawsuit that was made, was they were saying that Image Comics was being let off the hook. They were allowed to use superhero in some of their titles.
Really?
And
and you can't do that.
Yeah. or in their descriptors, they were allowed to use superhero.
So if you're letting one independent company use it, then you got to let everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's
So
that's
yeah. So on
that's
on
what
the
makes
cover
it
of Invincible.
indefensible.
So on the cover of Invincible, it says probably the best superhero comic book in the universe, right? And so like, oh, okay. But then they
You
said
can't have a favorite child.
the DC and Marvel were using superhero in a generic sense, and because they were using it as a generic descriptor, that fails to function as a trademark.
Yep.
So yeah.
Yep,
So
yep,
because it was so generic. However, there was then they list let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, about 20, 25 different instances where different companies wanted to use the term superhero in some of their marketing. Like these are even companies that are outside of comics. They wanted to create superhero things, like a superhero drink or a superhero item, whatever it might be. Because DC and Marvel kind of own this trademark, so to speak, these people would have to petition DC and Marvel, say,
to get permission.
Can you let us use it? And then DC and Marvel would squash it, so then they wouldn't be able to create that product.
Or if you went and used it, you get a C&D.
Right.
Yep.
Cease and desist. Yes. So yeah. So very interesting. So yeah. I don't know if it really changes anything because like I have a feeling that they weren't chasing every single like potential independent person or
have to have somebody doing
or companies
it
outside of the DC or Marvel world or outside of the comic space who use superhero. Like you'd be just nonstop. You'd be just doing nonstop.
They can't afford it.
Yeah.
You couldn't afford to pay the lawyers that much to constantly. You'd be going 20. You'd have a whole team of lawyers going 24/7, and they couldn't afford it.
Oh, yeah. So interesting. So yeah. So should we slap superhero on some of our books or no?
Honestly,
we can now. But
yeah, Teen Beetle.
Yeah.
Should we? I don't think it makes a difference. To me, it was a blip on the radar.
No, it's it's just
in a city of super.
Right there.
Wow.
Yep.
We were ahead of the time.
We slipped in under the radar. Oh my goodness.
Of course we did.
Wow.
They can't possibly chase it all down. They just can't.
That's hilarious. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, Roland is safe now. They won't come after him.
We snuck under the radar on that one. Woo! That's hilarious. We are.
But
folks,
that's exactly.
You have heard it here first at Silverline. We are the underground.
We are on the cutting edge.
Oh man, yeah.
Sticking it to the man. Stick. Oh boy. Well, anyways, so that was the interesting news. Superheroes. Well, it's available to use, folks. You can now slap superheroes all over your books. It probably really doesn't make a difference. Let people generically use the term about your characters. Make them super anyway. So
that's right.
It's right. It's a blip. It's a blip on the radar of the world. It's not that not that important
a thing. It was a thing until I saw.
I remember seeing the announcement when it was trademarked. I don't remember when it was. I think it may have been the 90s, as early as the 90s, but I remember them doing it. And at the time I went, there's no way that's gonna stick. But I'm surprised it stuck this long. But somebody finally fought it in the right court and won.
Isn't Mickey Mouse going to come up soon?
Mickey Mouse, the original cartoon of Mickey Mouse,
Steamboat Willie,
and that was copyright. And Mickey Mouse is still trademarked. I mean, you can't use the logo of Mickey Mouse in any titles of anything. But the first cartoon, Steamboat Willie, is now in public domain. So that look for Mickey Mouse, anybody can use it. That story from Steamboat Willie, that can be used. But any later iterations of what Mickey Mouse looks like have not yet fallen into the public domain, and
Well-
so you can't use those at this point.
So you
Steamboat
could
Willie
technically go ahead.
Steamboat Willie always reminded me of Crazy Cat.
It's it's from the same era that Crazy Cat was done, and it's a very similar style. Betty Boop was also in kind of that style. It's that whole white gloves with 3 fingers.
Yeah.
Rubber hose animation.
Yeah, rubber hose arms and legs, that kind of stuff. Yeah. But that look for Mickey Mouse is now in the public domain.
All right.
Cool.
So you could technically use the look and feel of that, but you can't slap the term Mickey. You can't call it Mickey Mouse.
Comic. You could now do a porn comic with Mickey Mouse in it and not be in any kind of trouble.
Rubber hose.
Yeah. Oh, you had to go there, didn't you, Barb?
Children might be watching
It wouldn't
this.
be me if I didn't. Come on.
All right. So, do we have any other news that has happened this week?
Well, we were in this big discussion before we came on the air because I was having a hissy fit about farmland and solar farms and windmills on good farmland, and it led to a discussion on trying to go more green, which brought Martin to this wonderful idea that and the title of this episode is supposed to be Creating Comics. So he had this wonderful idea of creating green comics that were edible.
Yeah. This has been an idea of mine for quite some time. So edible, yeah. So can we make comics more sustainable, and if so, how? So apparently, there's the possibility of doing what's called food printing, where you can print food, and it's kind of like you can make a paper-like food product, and then you can print on it something.
I mean, like the communion wafer.
Something to that effect, yeah. So I mean, could you imagine like printing a comic on the paper and then distributing it, and then someone reads it and then eats it,
and then chop it up and put it in a salad.
Now, another intriguing idea about that is like, what if you need to disseminate information that needs to be given to people that can't be seen? So you send that information
and self-destruct in 5 seconds.
Well, they read it and eat it, and then they come looking for where's the paper? What paper?
Well, I guess I'm just gonna have to get rid of it somehow.
Can you wait for 6 hours and
Well, and Rob and I both about the same time said that hemp paper is very biodegradable.
And it is no joke. It is no joke. Hemp paper, if left alone, actually holds up better than wood pulp paper does. The fibers make better paper.
Really?
Books made with hemp paper from way back before hemp was banned are still have most of the white color to them. They haven't faded. They haven't. It doesn't have any acid in it like pulp paper does. So it doesn't brown and get brittle and fall apart like the pulp paper books do. So
very interesting.
Yeah.
So I'm just reading.
And part of the reason why marijuana became so taboo is that the big Western publisher, I'm blanking on his name, Citizen Kane is based on it. Randolph Hearst actually owned wood paper mills, so he with all of his papers kind of pushed how bad marijuana was. This whole reefer madness thing came from that era, and he was just trying to push down hemp paper and push up pulp paper, and look what happened. He was successful in what he did. There were also some racist things involved with that as well, but that's a whole other subject we could go wild off on. But yeah,
there's still papyrus left around from Egyptian days.
Yeah.
So that's another.
That was made from, gosh, I can't remember what it was made from, whether it was from lotus blossoms or what it was made from. Might have been a bamboo-like thing. I imagine, but you can make paper from bamboo as
Oh,
well,
bamboo is
which was
highly
which
sustainable. It
is
grows
yeah,
so fast.
it does grow fast. So
Well,
you've
this is
got
crazy. So, go ahead.
yeah, you've got all these possibilities for sustainable paper. Uh, it, so yeah, but
Yeah.
Well, not
So,
only that, but paper is so ridiculously expensive now. I mean, it has pushed printing costs
yeah,
out of this world. So you would think
that
we
and
would want to
shipping.
come up with a cheaper alternative.
well,
And
well, if,
That and
bamboo
shipping
is
right now is just killing. Because I went to order some books, but have stuff printed through Kablam,
mhm.
and these are books that I printed years and years ago, and I went to order them, and by the time I paid for the shipping and the printing, it was actually more than the cover price that I had originally set on the books,
oh wow.
because things have increased that much. I need to go back
Hmm,
and change the prices on all that stuff,
hmm,
because they really need to be priced higher than they are now.
I
wow.
think
That's yeah, which is why in books I'm putting out now, I don't put a price on the cover.
Right.
'Cause-
Because you have to
yeah.
change it. So,
yeah,
I
hmm,
would
but
think that they would be doing more research into different ways to use bamboo, including paper,
oh
because
yeah,
it's so incredibly renewable. It grows so fast.
and it
hmm.
grows everywhere. You
It,
can grow it here in
it's
Missouri.
very invasive. Yes.
Yeah, you can grow it here. Oh, it is. Yeah, you can grow it
Mhm.
here in Missouri. I had this one of the lady that used to cut my hair had some growing in her backyard. It was a huge patch, and
Yeah,
it
you
was
got to
like
keep an eye on it.
12,
It'll
12,
take off.
13 feet tall. So yeah,
Hmm,
pretty
yeah.
amazing stuff.
Yeah. So I just looked up the hemp paper stuff, and you are absolutely right. It apparently lasts a long, long time. It's
It does.
apparently has
It
is it
makes great
three to
paper.
five 3 to 5 times more durable. It's
Mhm.
also 5 times more the cost.
Oh,
Well, that's because it's illegal. It's been illegal for so long.
No, it's
If it's grown a lot of places, it would be as soon as the supply gets better, then the
yeah,
price will come down.
yeah.
But
If it was
I
grown
don't.
more
yeah,
places, the price would come down because it would
Yeah, it would.
be
but
more
That's
available.
part of the problem with it. It's in a catch-22 at the moment.
well, it
Uh,
says here on Wikipedia. I don't know how accurate Wikipedia is, but we'll go with it. Production
Actually,
costs are
usually
about
pretty
five
close.
times 5 times higher than for paper and from wood, since the infrastructure for using hemp is underdeveloped.
Right,
That's
underdeveloped.
the point.
So
That's
the
underdeveloped. Yeah.
yeah.
It's
So
the capitalist way, supply and demand. If the supply goes up, then the
yeah,
demand part of if the demand is starting to be met, prices will
yeah,
come down. Yep.
yeah.
But right now,
Very
So
interesting though. So
back
yeah.
to edible comics.
Mm-hmm.
You could make edible comics and then make burritos out of the comic book, out of the
Mm-hmm.
pages. Oh, we're gonna have comic burritos tonight. I'm just gonna roll them up in this comic book page.
brings a whole new meaning to taco night. Yes.
and is that a sandwich or
Yes.
Exactly. That's a whole
Or a book.
other discussion, isn't it?
yeah, interesting, fascinating. So yeah, sustainability in comics. That's an interesting idea. So yeah, huh?
Yep.
So, seen any good movies lately?
No, I haven't. I don't remember the last time I watched a movie.
Well, Joker's out. The second Joker is out.
Yeah.
And I never went to see the first Joker because it
Me
was
either.
so dark and grim
Yeah, it looked
and
so depressing.
depressing.
Looked like
And
a well-made film, probably well written,
yes,
but it
and
just
critical acclaim. But I
did
want
not look like anything I'd be interested in.
my comic movies to be uplifting in the end. And there's nothing about Joker to me, which is all about madness, that I wanted in my life. So I mean, I didn't
Well,
go to see the
the
second one.
Yeah, the
because I
only
didn't.
appealing thing about the second one is Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, so that's a pass for me. I know a lot of people,
I'm with you.
thought it was really good writing and everything like that, but it's just there's so much crap in the world at the yep
Stuff. Yeah.
stuff in the world right now that the last thing I want to do is go to a downer movie. So that was a hard pass for me. And Beetlejuice also I passed on because I saw the first one. It was it wasn't a big hit with me, so I skipped the second one. And those are the two big movies out at the moment.
Yeah. I actually had an opportunity to go see Beetlejuice for free and passed. They're talking about the driving gig that I have for the college. I took a group to see the movie, and no one ever mentioned it, and it didn't come up. But if I had asked, I probably could have got into the movie free. They would have paid my way in, but I had no interest, so I wouldn't watch the volleyball game.
But you said you don't like Tim Burton movies.
I don't. The first Batman was okay, but I'm not a big fan of his movies. I think it's all flash and no flesh, as I say. There's a lot of interesting images, but the stories don't always make sense. And he, like in the first Batman film, for instance, early in the film, the Joker says, "I want my face on the $1 bill." So later in the movie, he and his henchmen are driving through Gotham, throwing money out. Right?
Mm-hmm.
This was a perfect opportunity for him to have his face on the $1 bill. This would be a great payoff for that line earlier in the film, and they don't do it. I don't think there's even outtakes of him doing it. Why do something? Why set something up like that early in the film and then not have it pay off later? That's poor storytelling, to my mind, because there was a perfect opportunity to have to make a statement with that. And here's the Joker's money with his face on it. That's just one of the things. I'm just not a big fan of Tim Burton's work. Edward Scissorhands. Why am I interested in a guy who's got, blades on the end of his fingers?
I thought it was quirky and fun.
Yeah. Okay.
But I didn't care for
just doesn't appeal to me.
I didn't care for Nightmare Before Christmas either.
Yeah, and my son played in the local high school did a production of The Nightmare Before Christmas, and my son played Jack Skellington. And I watched the play, and I'm going, this story really kind of doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, it's got some great, pieces to it, but it really doesn't come together into anything. So, at least to me, it didn't. Maybe for somebody else, they got something I didn't out of it. I hope so, but I'm thinking maybe I just missed something, but it didn't. It didn't do anything for me.
How about Frank and Weenie? I'm looking at a list
I
of his.
I didn't waste any time on that either. That the whole concept was kind of weird, but I could see how that might be a fun movie. But again, it's Tim Burton, and I'm going.
How about Mars Attacks? Come on,
Mars Attacks. It's not going to work. Did he do that?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe that's why I didn't see it.
I thought Mars Attacks. My kids loved Mars Attacks.
Really? I may have to try that one just to see if I can find it for free somewhere, either streaming or whatever. I'll take a peek at it. But no, I'm not a big fan of Tim Burton. I think he does great looking films. I will give him that.
Oh, they're
well
very
shot.
Yeah.
They're well shot, but if he's writing it, it's something's missing for me. He needs an editor. So I don't know.
Yeah. Right.
Okay,
know you-
downer. It's just my opinion, folks. Please don't send me nasty emails saying you're crazy. Yeah, I am crazy, but I just don't care for Tim Burton's films. I'm an old-fashioned film lover from Alfred Hitchcock. There's a filmmaker. Stanley Kubrick. There's a filmmaker. There's several. There's who recently. Which film director hadn't
Steven
done the films
Spielberg.
for a while and just recently did one and it flopped. So it was out last weekend, I think, and got walloped by everything else. And he spent
I
like
don't know.
$120 million on it. The old gray cells just aren't working as well as they used to, folks. I can't remember who it is, but yeah, just recently that happened. So maybe the kind of stuff that I like just isn't popular anymore. That's quite possible. Stuff that's just kind of like the big blockbuster films used to have really good stories underneath them, but now it's explosions and superheroes flying and all this stuff, which I'm not against, but if that's what the big blockbusters are, we're not. It's just not as appealing to me as a well-told story. It's
Just like
got some
the
depth
first-
and makes me think at the end. I think about it for 2 or 3 days afterwards. The last one
first-
that did that to me was American Beauty.
The first John Wick film was a lot of fun, and then the second, third, and
I
fourth
haven't
were
seen
just
any
like
of those.
blood, followed by blood, and then it's followed by more blood. They were just like, okay, yeah. How many different ways can we kill people?
Yeah. How much
got-
gore can we put on the screen?
Yeah. First one was fun.
Okay.
The other ones were pedantic and bloody. So,
But yeah.
speaking of which, I've heard Craven is coming out soon, and that or has it come out? But that one is
No,
supposed to
I
be
think it's
super
supposed to be
bloody.
this fall, sometime later this year. I'm thinking like November. I'm pulling that out of my rear. I have no idea for sure.
And like you, I'm old fashioned. I this penchant for super bloody, gory movies just doesn't do it for me. I mean, I enjoyed Deadpool and Wolverine, but it does have a lot of blood in it. But that wasn't so. It wasn't as bad as just gory movies because it was done in kind of a funny way, as Ryan Reynolds movies do.
Tongue in cheek, I believe they call that.
Yeah. But it just seems like everybody's in a competition to be the goriest movie out there, and I'm just like turned off by that.
Yeah, I think, and comics went through a period like that too. I think, and especially in the 50s, the EC comics, there was a lot of gore and weird stuff on the covers of that, and then along comes Frederick Wertham and starts using that. It's creating juvenile delinquents. So yeah, kind of like in video games. That's also been bad for kids. We go through that all the time. But
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, how many times when
agree.
we were growing up did we see an anvil falling on somebody's head and we never thought,
I never dropped an anvil on anybody.
Let's go throw an anvil on somebody.
Now.
Okay.
I do have a story from my childhood about this kind of
Well, I
thing.
can't help it if you're the exception to the rule.
My brother's friends used to watch Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles all the time.
Oh no!
And so then one day,
Hey,
y'all, hey Grey Wolf. So my little brother, his friends were playing, and so one of his friends decided that he would take a hockey stick and start hitting the other kids with it because the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles did it. And so my mom went out. My mom went out and grabbed the hockey stick. So what are you doing? He says, "Oh, it doesn't hurt." And he's like, "The other kids are crying. What do you mean it doesn't hurt?" He says, "Well, they get hit in the cartoon all the time, and it doesn't hurt them." And so she picked up the stick to raise it as if she was going to hit him, and he's like, "No." Right? So he's like, maybe it does hurt. So it's like, okay. So yeah. So
Yeah, I mean, there's
some kids do act it out.
sure, but the thing is, most of us,
Yeah,
the
well, most
vast
people,
majority of
yeah,
us, there's a, you know,
we, we,
it's like there's plenty of gun owners out there too. But it only takes
mhm,
one idiot with a gun who wants
right,
to use it to kill somebody.
right,
So you know, it, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
And
no,
one person that had to grab the dynamite and throw it off a cliff. I mean, come on. It's rude for all of us.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, anyways, did you have some? Did you pull up some webtoons there the other?
I did. Do you guys read webtoons at all?
No,
I have
I
read
don't.
some. I
I'm an old guy. You kids get off my lawn.
I've read.
I
I've read.
haven't read any.
I
No.
followed two. I followed two for a while. One of them was Lore Olympus, which is kind of like somebody took the stories of the Greek gods and then made like this big giant like soap opera out of it.
Oh, that's
And so,
yeah. That sounds
and
reasonable. That's
so
because the Olympic gods were a big soap opera.
yeah. So
Yeah, Zeus was always fooling around.
yeah. So
Oh,
it's kind of interesting.
Zeus couldn't keep it in his toga.
And
No.
so and then the other one I followed. I'm trying to remember the name of it. And it's a really strange style. I like it's kind of like Japanese manga ish, but it isn't at the same time, but it is, and it's about these
And
teenagers
so it's
who have.
influenced by. It's influenced by.
I guess
yeah.
I mean it's still really in that vein, but it's about teenagers who become bugs, like they have like bug-like powers or whatever, and then there's all these different bug factions fighting with each other, and it's crazy.
Huh.
I can't remember, but like the visuals in it are just absolutely like mind blowing. You're like, wow, this is like crazy cool. So I followed that for a while, but then I just kind of like I couldn't keep track of what was going on at any given point in time. So I was like, all right, I'm out. But it looked, I mean, like the story idea was really kind of interesting. Like, so at a certain age, the bug system or the bug whatever, the bug gene kicks into the person, and then they get kind of carted off into the secret society or whatever.
So it's like mutants in a way,
kind of,
because that's like puberty triggered the
something
mutant
like that.
gene.
Yeah, something like that. So,
Hmm.
but they get pulled out of society and they get kind of hidden away from everything, and then they do deal with all their stuff behind the scenes. So it's kind of an interesting, but I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head. So those are the two I followed on webtoons.
I swore I'd never, follow manga because I wasn't really into. I really didn't get what the big thing was with the art style of manga and anime. But just like I said, I'd never do digital art. Yeah. I follow. I follow. Hey, it's a Floramonte flyby. Howdy, y'all. Yep, we're talking webtoons, Tommy. I did get into half a dozen webtoons that I'm following right now, and the first one caught my eye because of the amazing coloring, and of course, I'm trying to teach myself coloring, so
any good reference in that area is a good thing. Yeah.
In the course of following this webtoon, I got hooked on it, and it's called The Academy's Undercover Professor. It's on webtoons.com. And the coloring just blows my mind, but it's also a good story. It's about this guy who's trying to be on the down low because he's kind of a vigilante type guy, and he's gone by several names across several countries, and he finds himself inadvertently having to take over the identity of a guy who he thinks is just a regular old professor in this exclusive magic academy. There's the world has magic in it. He goes, oh, this will be a good way to lay low for a while. The guy dies. The original professor dies, and he assumes his identity as a good cover. Well, then he finds out that the guy that died was involved in all kinds of nefarious things, and now he's got to try to figure out what he got himself involved in and teach at the same time. And it's very much in the manga style, but I'm really enjoying it. There's all kinds of mysteries in it.
What was the name of that?
It's called The Academy's Undercover Professor.
The Academy's Undercover Professor.
Yeah. But the colors just blow my mind. They're just beautiful. Yep, he's
and
looking it up.
online you can do more than you probably could in print, I would think. I don't know, but
now see I see Martin's pulled it up there.
Yeah. Are we sharing it on? Okay, let's put that
Sure,
on
go
stage
ahead.
here.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm really liking it. It's not showing.
This is the picture in the snowstorm. There's the polar bear right there. There's the white rabbit.
Polar bear's got a black nose. I don't see the black nose.
Why? It's just taking a minute to upload here. Let's find out. Oh, there we go. So.
Oh wow! Yeah.
So let's see. So do you know of an episode that has some crazy coloring happening in it?
They all do.
Look at that.
They
Look
all
at
do.
that.
Oh.
Look at that. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, that's
that's almost like a photo texture kind of thing going on.
Well, you can also do a watercolor effect like that with Photoshop brushes. Same thing with that background there. Yeah.
I actually used one of the effects that I learned from this on the first page of Divinity number 4. When they're in this big room, which is really tall and sunlight's coming in, and I learned to fade out the top half of the room because of the sun. And it's just so I learned from looking at this comic, but it's very, very interesting, and the coloring is just phenomenal. So I'm really enjoying it.
It's interesting how he's got a white line around the figures quite often. If you back up, like that figure there, it's got a white line completely around it.
The only thing I don't like about these manga comics is that they spell out what's going on. Like you see the guy grabbing for something, it's obviously you're only seeing his hand. He's reaching out and grabbing, and it says grab, like or dash. I mean,
that's manga though. They do that a lot. Their
I know it's really annoying.
The sound effects are really weird like that. So grab.
Yeah, it's like smile. Mm-hmm. We can see that he's smiling. You don't need to say smile.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's probably a standard thing in manga, though, from what I've seen, what little I've seen of it.
Okay, I'm going to bring up the. Sorry, I
see what you mean about the coloring. Yeah, like that fade at the top of that panel right there.
The fade, yeah,
fading it out. Yeah, that's interesting. No panel borders. It's all done with the color.
Where's my? Okay, I found out the comic that I was talking about.
Oh, good.
It's called Jungle Juice.
Jungle Juice. Yeah.
Jungle Juice. Yeah, this is a. So let's see. Oh, so here's some coloring stuff going on the other one. So
they've got the same. They got sort of the same thing where I don't know how they do this because I can't do it on Procreate. Where they make the sun kind of like prism. Go back to that one. So you can see the sunbeam and it prisms on the screen.
Bokeh?
There.
Yeah, the bokeh stuff. Yeah. Okay. So that you're going to end up doing. Can Procreate create layers?
Oh yeah.
Do you
have overlays and screens and?
Yeah. Do you have a hard light?
Yes.
A hard light. Yeah. Okay. So what you're probably going to do is you're going to take a color, and then
Mhm.
and you can like make these like shapes or whatever, and you're gonna probably do two of the same layer or three of the same layer, and then what you're gonna do is you're gonna do a hard light, and then you could do a soft light, a hard light, and or a hard mix, and then you push it, and then you turn down the opacity, and you kind of get these kind of like
So it's kind
effects.
of ghostly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
sweet.
you have to play around a little bit with the different overlays or whatever you want to call those. So hard light, hard mix, soft light, just and then you layer them. You copy them several times, layer them, and then
Mhm.
change your opacity, and you can kind of get these like really extreme kind of like little
Yeah, I
color
could do that in
things.
Procreate. I didn't know
Yeah,
how that was done, and it does it a lot in the Academy's Undercover Professor, and I'm like, how do they make that effect? Because I really
yeah,
like it.
yeah.
That sounds like a
Well,
Google
now I'm
search.
gonna have to mess
Yeah,
around.
you're going to have to Google search
All right, let's see.
that
If we can...
that particular technique.
All right, so this is Jungle Juice. So as you can see, all
Yeah,
the
that's got
characters are
nice
all
coloring
based off.
too. Yeah.
They're based off of bugs. I'm not sure what's going on there, folks. Sorry. Ah! Okay. So,
All right.
so
All right. The
anyways,
next one
yeah. Next one. What's the next one you got?
this one does not have an anime style. It has a cartoon style, and it's a fantastic story. It's in the webtoons again. It's called Trailer Trash.
Trailer
Um,
Trash.
Yep. And it's about this gal who we see her late in life, and there it is right there. Yeah, it's late in life, and she is sick. She goes into this MRI machine. She's had a lousy life. She was overweight. She was unpopular. Blah blah blah. She had a lousy life. She goes into this
That's a
MRI
strangers in
machine,
paradise looking thing. Yeah. Nice.
and the MRI zaps her back to when she's 16, and she has a chance to live her life over and change it. And I'm loving it. All the things that she tries to change, and some of the things that she can't change. It's fascinating how she goes about trying to improve her life, and things that she regrets not doing the first time because she was too timid, she was too shy, she was too down on herself. Like, oh, I might as well not even try because I'll never make it. So the second time around, she decides to change things. It's interesting to see the things that she can and can't change, and the stuff that she tries to change and ends up happening in a different way, but it still happens. So I've been really enjoying this one.
Wow, interesting.
It's got kind of a manga storytelling style to it. Yeah, but the rendering itself is not manga. It's
Right.
it's got manga. It's got a manga influence, but it's
yeah.
North American manga. Yeah.
Yeah.
So back in the day, like in the early '90s, I wanted to create a comic, and I was looking at all these different. I was looking at North American comics. I was looking at Japanese comics. I was looking at European comics, and I was also looking at Deco Pop art. So I was like, yeah, okay. So one day I want to make a North American Euro manga with Deco Pop thrown in for good measure.
I've got one more to rec before we go, and this one is completely off the wall. Doesn't fit. This is a European style. It's called Death Heads Deal. Death Heads Deal.
Death Heads Deal.
And it's about this organization. It says if no one else can help you, Death Heads are there for you for a randomly collected price. If you are ready to gamble your money, legs, house, or just a sandwich, make a deal with a Death Head. Join a silent Death Head Alric in this monster comic where a legal mafia operates in illegal ways. And it's they're animals. They're how do you say
anthropomorphic?
Anthropomorphic. They're
I
anthropomorphic.
can't think of the title of movies that I like, but I can remember anthropomorphic.
Yes. Now
Well,
this is
I won't
really interesting.
I won't click on the
Yes, head
images
deal.
because it says it's adult. So
It is, and the main character is a half rabbit, half human mute because he originally made a deal with a death head, and the cost was his tongue. Then he became a death head, but he's got a heart of gold, and he doesn't. He never extracts more from a customer
That's
than
an interesting concept.
yeah.
You could
They
tell all kinds of stories with that. Wow.
Oh, and they do. It's really fascinating. He a lot of the times he'll do stuff for free, or he'll do it for a flower or something, But he will also get down and dirty if he needs to, to put the hurt on somebody. But the whole Death Head organization, nobody messes with Death Heads. They are like the ultimate mafia, and they'll make you a deal that you can't refuse. But it's up to you whether you take the deal or not. They'll say you'll come to them with a problem. I want to be a singer. I want this contract, but nobody will listen to me sing. Well, okay, I can arrange that for you, but what are you willing to trade? Here's what I want, and they'll give
that
you.
Sounds very mafia-like.
Yeah,
The Godfather.
And depending on the death head, they'll say, okay, you're not supposed to take a person's services in exchange, but it does happen. But they'll say, all right, I'll make you a singer, but I'm going to cripple you. Or you got to give me your house, or something like that, or you got to give me $1,000 or $100,000 or whatever. They can do it for anything. And then you have to decide how badly you want the deal. Do you really, really want it? Or it's like, I changed my mind, So it's really interesting. And I really like it. Those are 3 different web comics with 3 completely different flavors. One very manga, one very American, and one very European.
Yeah. So it's interesting that you've managed to find comics on Webtoons that are kind of looking different than like all their other stuff.
Sailor Moon.
Like if you look at this, you're like looking at this and you're like, what's the difference between this one here and this one here and this one? Like they all look the same. No, this one here, the Kiss Bet looks a little bit different, so that kind of sticks out because it's a slightly different style. But then,
we're back to the days when
can you tell the difference between?
No, that's just it. And I specifically look for the ones that stand out.
Sticks out. Yeah, this one sticks out. The trailer trash sticks out. Now here, this blue chair, I don't know what this is, but that sticks out because it's a different style, right?
And if it's a romance, I'm automatically out of there.
Yeah.
I don't like romances.
Oh, this is interesting. Sell Swords and Sorcery. That has a different type of look to it. Yeah, so it's just like, okay. Now, an interesting thing, just so people know, if you're looking at these webtoons, sometimes these cover pictures look really, really cool. And then you go and read the comic and you're like, this doesn't match the picture. So you just got to kind of...
It's just like a book, or a comic book magazine. You gotta crack it open and look at it for a little bit to see if it's something you really want. Because they'll pay a lot of money for somebody to do a cover to get your attention. So yeah.
So now this also brings up a very interesting thing. We might be going over time here, but there's a music label back a while ago. They're probably still around. I haven't looked at them in a long time, but all their bands, if you stuck them all on one page and looked at them, like you're like, I don't know what's the difference between this band and that band is.
Yeah,
like they all look the same. And then if you went and listened to them, you're like, I could probably swap all these band names around and change all the people in the bands, and they'd still be the same band. Like they all like sounded the same and they all look the same. You're like, I don't know what the difference is between these guys. I mean, there's some marginal differences here and there, but like generally speaking, it was like.
I imagine K-pop is kind of like that.
So yeah. Anyways.
Well, for an hour,
So-
we didn't know what we were going to talk about,
Yeah.
which is always the case.
So
We could BS our way through anything.
yeah. Well, all right. So we
No.
started off with superheroes. Superheroes are now available as a term to slap on your comic covers.
Yep.
We here at Silverline, we're ahead of the curve with the wonderful Cape Towns. We stuck superheroes on our cover. So yeah. Oh, there. How did I get a solo? Did you put me on the solo?
I did.
It's a
Okay,
city
so-
of superheroes.
Yeah, and then, but we've got
Teen
some
Beetle.
other wonderful
Oh,
books.
how are we doing?
Oh, and there's the Teen Beetle. Yes, so there's our Teen Beetle
Well, halfway
Kickstarter,
to the
or
goal.
not Kickstarter, Fund My Comic. Yeah,
Not quite
so
halfway to the
please-
goal.
and then 20 days to go. But we only started how long ago? so-
10.
10
Yeah, we-
days ago.
Yeah, it goes to 30 days. I think
Yeah.
it does.
So anyways, so we're already halfway there, so that's good. So folks, go check that out. It's a wonderful book, especially for kids. But if you just like good old standard storytelling, this will be the one for you.
There's a bunch of artwork associated with this one too.
And there's a
Looks
bunch of artwork. Yes, so there's a bunch of original artwork that's available. So take a look at that if you have a chance. So, and go fund our book. Silverline's books are also available in comic stores. Check the previews magazines out if you want to see what's available. And just
Yeah,
we'll
check
ask-
in the comments. When we first started, there was a link to it on the
Mhm.
Fund My Comic. Yeah, or you can go to Fund My Comic and do a search for Silverline.
Yeah, and you can
Probably
get
find
any
it.
of our books on
Yeah.
these
Yeah,
crowdfunders.
Yeah, so to fundmycomic.com, Team Beetle is actually on the homepage right now. So if you click there, you should be able to find it.
And Divinity number 4 is shipping.
And Divinity 4 is shipping.
Yippee.
Twilight Grim number what?
2 is
Two.
in previews.
2 is
Is
in
in
previews.
previews.
Just
So
popped up in
have
previews
your
as of yesterday.
have
Okay.
your retailer order it for you, please.
Yeah.
Tell him
I
to
mean,
order
alright.
every
Copies to put
Silverline
on
book
the
because we only
stand.
put one out a month. And
Yeah,
have them order Silverline books every month.
It's not even as bad as Marvel back in the 60s where you had 8 books, only 8 books you had to follow. We only have 1 book per month for you to follow. And then, of course, you check out the Kickstarters too. But a lot of times these Kickstarters will eventually go to previews, we hope. Fingers crossed. So,
Fund My Comics. Fund My Comics.
Fund My Comic.
Yeah.
Not-
All
yeah.
right. So are we capping it for the night then? Is that
Think so.
I think
We
we've
did
covered
our
all our
hour.
bases. All right. So thank you for joining us. If you joined us, if you're next week, we
Watching
probably
us
have an
later.
exciting show. And for October 30th, I am going to try and come up with a zinger of a show. We'll see what we can do.
I will not be here, so
so,
I'll have to hear
yes.
about it.
So,
Because I'm going to go
yeah.
talk about electrical lines across farmland. So there you go.
Electrical lines across farmland, eh?
Yeah.
Are they planning on putting it in the ground, or are they planning on
Towers.
like what are they? Oh, they're putting in towers, and people don't like it.
Well, they're letting them know that there's no liking about it. It's eminent
Right.
domain.
Okay.
But I'm the trustee of my brother's estate, so I got a certified letter, and I'm going to attend in Iowa, so I will not be here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the thing that's happening up here in my area is I got a bunch of maple slabs from a guy who has a property that has like 20 different breeds of tree on it. So he gave me some nice big hard maple slabs that I bought off of him, and his day job. So that's what he does on the side. His day job is actually putting in fiber optic cable all throughout the countryside here, and apparently the whole region and my general area is going to be all dug up and fiber optics put in. So it's going to
It
be
just
That's
did that
actually a good
recently
thing.
here. We bought into it, and man, it is amazing how much faster everything.
Yeah. Fortunately, they
yeah.
go through the
Comes across.
ditches for that. Most of them.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah, they did
No.
here too.
I'll throw a little tidbit. I used to live up in northern BC, and in a city up there called Prince George for a little while, and it's a logging town, and it smells like lumber mills. But
Smells like sawdust. huh?
so they had the fiber optics, or they had the internet that was being fed in, and one day all of a sudden, like, the internet was really slow, and then like people were like calling each other like, how's your internet doing, what's going on, you got internet, some guys went and rented a tractor, like a backhoe, like a giant backhoe.
Oh no! Oh no!
So they rented it with illegal credentials, drove it out into the middle of the bush, like just somewhere randomly in the middle of the bush, cut out a chunk of the line, ripped it out, and took off, and they left the backhoe behind, and they just ran off with a bunch of cable.
Yeah, you're only supposed to remember the old call before you dig. Yeah, back when I was still living in Iowa and the kids were little, we wanted to put a back fence in around our backyard to keep the kids in. Cut off the phone for the entire city. Did not call before we did.
Yeah, it's called dig. It's called dig right here in Missouri. I don't know what it's called in Iowa. It's called dig right. It's a 1-800 number, and they come out and do it for free. So, yeah, we had to have to do that when they put in the new cable for our gigabit.
I'm not taking any blame for it.
internet.
Dick and my dad did that. You know, it was like they cut off. It was a city, a town of 3,000. We lost all.
And you took out their phone system.
Yeah.
Wow.
And if your phone system dies and all your systems crash and you don't have any access to anything, maybe one day you'll be able to eat your comics.
Sit down and read your comics.
Yeah. Eat your comics
and eat them.
Yep.
So, anyways,
chop them up.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will cap it off there. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope you have a great night, and hope you can join us next week. Until then, let me see if we can pull up this stuff here.
Oh yeah, you got the end. The close.
Yeah. All right. And as we always like to say over here, make mine Silverline.
Hey, I'm G-Rod. Make mine Silverline. You heard me.